Hey guys, let's talk about the rhetorical triangle. The way that I've broken out these notes in this lecture is in 9 separate slides, not including this one, where each element on the rhetorical triangle I discuss, but because these elements are so intertwined, I'm going to talk about all of them all the time, and you'll hopefully start to get the sense by the end of this video that they are connected, and everything, the decisions that you make for audience, for example, can affect the message, but vice versa. The message that you have can affect the audience and the tone, and all of these things are kind of like, think about a puppet where if you adjust one side just a little bit, then the hand of the puppet moves up a little bit. And so it's all connected, and how you move it just a little can make major changes down below. So the first thing that we are going to address in the rhetorical triangle is tone. This is the most complex image or version of the rhetorical triangle that you have, and you can't see it all because my face is in the way, but here we go. Now you can see it all. So if you're thinking about a basic triangle where the point, you have the flat base and the point at the top, then you see this bold basic triangle. Speaker is at the top. Speaker is connected to ethos. Speaker is connected to tone and style. Purpose is at the bottom of a thin upside down triangle. Purpose is connected to pathos. It's pronounced pathos. I always say pathos, so I need you to know that, but it is technically pronounced pathos. I don't want you to go out in the world and people think you're stupid. Purpose is connected to the audience and the message. The message is connected to logos. Logos is connected to tone, message, and purpose. Tone is connected to purpose and style. The speaker is connected to tone. I mean, all these things are just intertwined with each other. So what is tone? And how does it even matter? How does it relate to what we're talking about? If you're looking at a video, you're either looking at an advertisement, or you're looking at a music video, or you're looking at a movie trailer. What is the tone? So you want to think about the language that they're using. Are there words at all? Are there no words? Are there only images or music or sounds? If there are words, is it formal? Is it informal? The speaker, the person you see talking or the person you hear talking, sometimes it's just a voice, just a narrator or a voiceover. What do they sound like? How deep is their voice? How high pitched is their voice? How fast are they talking? What is their language choices? Are they picking heavy jargon words that only a specific type of audience is going to be able to understand? What is their tone? What about music? Is the music ominous? Is it upbeat? Is it fast? Is it slow? Is it happy? Is it depressing? Or is it sad? Does it make you have sad feelings? Does it make you really pumped up and really excited? What about the images? What about the font style? Are there words? Do you see physical words? Is it dark? Is it bright? Is it happy? Or is it ominous? Or is it something in between? Is it peppy? Is it Comic Sans? So what is the tone? And all of these things are going to be working together. And if you find that, let's say you look at image and everything is bright and happy, but the music is depressing and sad, then what is the tone of that? And what is the irony behind that? And why is the author of that, the speaker or the writer, why are they doing that? What is the message or the intent or the purpose behind that? So all of these things are connected. Don't forget that. In addition to tone, we want to talk about style. And whenever I was researching really the true details for building this PowerPoint, I thought, I had to type it into Google. What the heck is the difference between tone and style? So what I found was style is more of the umbrella over tone. tone is a part of style. Let's say you have upbeat music, lots of bright colors, and you find, maybe you identify that tone as peppy or excited. That is part of the style, because the style is the effect a writer can create. So, what can a writer do with the things that they have access to? What can a producer do with the things that they have access to? What effect can they create? That is the style. The question is, what effect is created in this commercial, music video, or movie trailer? Types of styles can have something informative. Like, really, it's just telling you the details. Something extremely descriptive. Something very persuasive, like a commercial style, persuasive, but they use really bright colors like yellows and lime green to make you feel happy, and they also show you pictures of groups of people to make you feel like you want to fit in, all with the style of persuading you to join the bandwagon and purchase Sprite or something like that. Or are they telling you a story? Are they making you feel that nostalgia for the story, or something along those lines? Purpose. There are three major purposes of any written, produced content: to entertain, to persuade, to inform. But that doesn't mean that just because there are these three, that these are the only ones. And it also doesn't mean that just because these are listed out separately, that you can't have a music video, commercial, or movie trailer doing multiple things here. So, let's say, for example, you have a commercial, and the commercial's goal is to persuade you to purchase Cheetos. It might also be entertaining, but the overall purpose is to persuade you to purchase Cheetos. How are they doing that? Well, that depends on audience, style, ethos, pathos, and logos. So some questions that you could ask of whatever content you're analyzing. What is the primary goal of the piece? Is there a secondary goal? And if so, of course, then what is it? Then you want to think about audience. And we've talked a lot about audience before, so I'm going to kind of go through this one really quickly. But one of the things that we can also talk about is just the difference between target audience and secondary audience. So when you're looking at audience, you can analyze age. You can analyze gender. Now, here's the thing. So in our last audience lecture, we talked about gender, and we said that, as a writer, you don't necessarily want to target people based specifically on their gender. But as producers, especially, if we're looking at, honestly, all of the three possible topics for this unit, whether we're looking at commercials, whether we're looking at movies, whether we're looking at movie trailers, I said that, music videos, there is very likely a certain gender being targeted. Not all the time. Certainly not all the time, but it's something you absolutely can analyze and say, this is a part of the audience group. Age, gender, language, religion, location. If you're looking at a commercial and they're selling you umbrellas, maybe you live somewhere where it rains a lot. Or if you're looking at a commercial and they're selling you like beach attire or something that's related to the beach, then you probably don't live in the Midwest unless you plan on going to the beach. You can think about your audience in terms of their internal factors too, though. Needs, hopes, concerns, aspirations. This is related directly to pathos. So pathos, eventually we'll talk about, is the appeal to emotion, and it's extremely effective in getting someone to act or think a certain way, because we are ruled much by our emotions. Even if we're extremely level-headed people, when we hear about other people suffering, when we see images of dogs suffering, we immediately want to donate our money to the ASPCA. And it's sure, it's a great cause, but it's also extremely manipulative of them to do that to us. And finding out the needs, the hopes, the concerns, the aspirations for your audience are all things that make, if you know that about your audience, you can target that. That's frightening, but it's true. What are their barriers or facilitators? So what's standing in their way from being able to believe what you want them to believe? What's standing in their way from them buying your product? What's standing in their way from them listening to this music or watching this movie? Whatever that is, that can help you understand your audience so that you can make a better product. And if you understand it that way, then you can analyze it. So questions to ask: what group is the primary target audience? So really this is, who is this ad? Who is this movie? Who is this music video really made for? Who's the audience? Then you can ask, is there a secondary audience? So is there also other people who might be interested in this, even though the ad or the video isn't targeting them? Does my audience agree or disagree with my message? Because that's really important too. The message is, what are you trying to get across? If they agree with you, you might not have to work as hard. You might not have to think about as many things regarding audience, or you might just have to find people that live, work, do, look like, believe the things that your audience does so that they continue to agree with you. But if they disagree, you have more legwork that you have to do. So how does the audience feel? And understanding your audience can help you better understand how your audience feels about your subject matter. You can also think about message regarding the rhetorical triangle, and message is fairly straightforward. What is the main point being made? What is the main idea? What is the speaker trying to get the audience to know, to do, or to believe? What is the message? Speaker. So this connects to audience. In the same way that you want to identify who the target audience is, you also want to identify speaker. This can, again, be, if you're watching a video, it can be the people that you see talking, or it can be the voiceover that's talking in the background. Maybe you don't actually see that person, you see other images, but who is the speaker? In a music video, excuse me guys, in a music video, the speaker is the person doing the singing, right? So who are they? And based on who they are, again, is your audience going to agree with them? Is your audience going to buy what they're selling? Is your audience going to be mesmerized by their songs or their movements or their fashion or their message? Looking at the speaker, you can look at gender, you can look at age, race, location, their socioeconomic status, their political orientation, and then of course, does the speaker have any kind of bias or hidden agenda, which again suggests message and purpose. Now we're going to talk about the 3 rhetorical appeals. So that's ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos is the appeal to your audience's sense of credibility. So can they trust you? Are you a trustworthy speaker? That's why speaker and ethos are so closely connected. If your audience can't trust you, then they're not going to believe what you say. So how can you prove your credibility? Is that because you have previous experience? Think about when products are trying to, or companies are trying to sell you a product, they're not just going to get anyone to sell you a product. They're going to get someone who you find credible. So that might be someone who has previous experience with this product. So 90% of moms pick Pampers for their babies. Well, if 90% of moms are picking Pampers, then I should too. Is it going to be someone who has the education or the credentials to back up their claims that this product will work? Is that someone like a scientist or a doctor? Or some type of expert. So all of that plays into ethos. There is a faulty rhetorical appeal, though, that happens a lot that plays into ethos as well, and that's the use of a celebrity in order to sell a product. What happens, I think, relates a lot pathos, you, maybe not necessarily you per se, but the general audience, the public, especially the target audience, looks at their television screen or their phone or their computer or whatever and says, I love this celebrity and I want to be like them. That's all emotional. That's not logic. But I love this celebrity and I want to be like them, or I agree with the things that they do, or they support the military and I support the military, so I want to buy this product that they're selling, or something like that, right? Celebrities don't really necessarily have credibility, but they give us the sense of credibility, and it's connected very closely to this concept of pathos because of the way that our emotions are playing at how we look at ourselves when we look at celebrities. It's very interesting. It's why most of your Proactive, which if you don't know what that is, it's a face wash. It's why most of your Proactive commercials are selling Proactive using celebrities, because we want to be like them. Or whatever. I don't know. Is that a thing? It used to be. So pathos is the appeal to emotion. And it doesn't always have to be adoration or aspiring to be like someone. It can be all sorts of things. So appealing to someone's emotions, you can appeal to their sense of fear, anger, hate, pity, apathy. You can think about pretty much anything written with an agenda regarding politics in the past 4 years, at least, if not anything ever written regarding politics, and recognize that there are absolutely appeals being made to anger, to fear, to uncertainty, maybe to pity, possibly to hate, likely to hate, but mostly fear and anger are big ones. If you're afraid of something, then you might buy that product that can keep you safe. Think about, one of the biggest things that gets me is mom guilt. Like, if there's a product out there that's going to make me seem like a better mom, I might buy it because I have, mom guilt is a very real thing. So that fear of being judged, I don't want to be judged, so I'm going to make sure that I buy this thing for my kid that everyone says I have to have. And the reverse of that, adoration, love, and empathy, which is a very good emotion to have, are also all appeals to emotion. You will find when people are appealing to your sense of emotions that very strong language in either direction can work to appeal to pathos. So if you think about on this spectrum, you've got like happy and you have sad, but then you have words that are stronger than happy, like excited or ecstatic or overjoyed, or now my hand is going to disappear, like exuberant. So really, really, really strong words, and in the positive direction, and then really strong words in the negative direction. So, if you're sadder than sad, you're, unhappy, or you're upset, or you are depressed, or you're devastated, or you're some other word that's even stronger than devastated, and you will see this language, strong language being used when they're attempting to appeal to your sense of emotions. There's the headline that says 10 people were devastated by a hurricane sounds so much more interesting than 10 people were hurt by a hurricane. But they were not hurt, they were devastated. So language absolutely can affect our emotions. In addition to strong words, images are especially effective at emotional appeals. And all you have to do is go to YouTube and Google Sarah McLachlan ASPCA commercial, and you will find hundreds of videos of commercials where they use hurt animals, hurt dogs, hurt cats, to appeal to our emotions, because it is very, very hard for us as humans to look at animals that are in pain. What I really think about pathos is that it is, there's pros. If you are trying to convince someone to do something, then you should try a little bit maybe to use this emotional appeal because it's extremely effective. But the con is that if you are being appealed to and it's only your emotions that are being appealed to, then isn't that really just a form of manipulation? So as a writer, if you're thinking about this long term, not just for this project, but if you're thinking about this as you as a writer and you want to, or as a friend or a family member who wants to persuade people to think or believe or act in the way that you think is best, then not only should you appeal to their sense of emotion, especially if it's a positive one, but also logic. Because if how should I say this? An argument that is based purely on emotion is not a good argument. Emotion cannot be the only thing that gets us to do the things that we do. We have to look at the facts and we have to look at logic. And if you are persuaded purely by emotion, then you should really rethink what is persuasive to you, because I think that emotion cannot be everything. It can be some of it, but it can't be everything. So finally we have logos, which is the best rhetorical appeal, and it's the appeal to your audience's sense of logic. Does this make sense? Because of logic, because of facts, because of statistics or data that has been presented to you. If your audience disagrees with you, like automatically, if your audience comes to you and you know that they're the opposite of you in every way, their political views are opposite of you, their socioeconomic class is opposite of you, their age is opposite of you, or can you have an opposite age? I don't know. It's different from yours. Present them with logic. Facts, statistics, data. Is this going to work every time? No, of course not. You've tried it out. You know it doesn't work every time. But this is the most effective appeal, and especially when your audience doesn't agree with you. So when you're thinking about the rhetorical triangle, you have to recognize that all of these things are connected together. The way that producers are making videos, the music that they use, the words that they use, the images that you see are all working to appeal to your sense of credibility, to appeal to your sense of emotion, to appeal to your sense of logic. It's that tone and style that is how they're getting their message across. What is their purpose? Who are you? Who do you see? How is it all intertwined and working together? And that's the rhetorical triangle. And it's really also, it's context, what's happening here. The style that you use or that is used for one movie trailer is obviously, as you know, not the style that's used for every single movie trailer, because not all audiences are the same. The person who loves, absolutely adores, and is the favorite type of movie, like romantic comedies, might not be as persuaded to watch a movie about drugs and explosions, because the style is just that's not for them. They're a different audience. They're a different target audience. So all of these things are connected together, and I want you to be thinking about them as you do your rhetorical triangle brainstorm for this week. Also, I'm glad that you're here at the end of this video, because the rhetorical triangle that you see on your screen right now is exactly the way that it should look in your weekly Moodle activity for this week. So memorize the location or write it down of each of the words on the rhetorical triangle and go do your week 9 Moodle activity. Otherwise, I hope you have a good week, and email me if you have any questions or if you want to talk more about any of these 9 elements or the rhetorical triangle in general.